Hey y'all, I am back again today with another word that God has given me today. And I'm just kind of blown away by this word. He kind of pulled this together while I was at the lake, just sitting and, talking to him and allowing him to speak to me. And if the previous words I've posted the last week or two about marriage season, the keys, the open door to the marriage season, if you are in your marriage season and you know for a fact because God has shown you and told you, like there is, without a doubt that you are in your marriage season and those words were for you, then this word is for you also. God is continuing to speak on this. And again, the words, I have them on my TikTok. Now, something has been happening with my TikTok, and now I know that it's not just me. It's a lot of people right now that the algorithm is slowed down for some reason, and the videos are not getting views. They're not reaching people. So I've kind of switched over to my YouTube. So I only have one word up right now on my YouTube that I posted yesterday. So this word is for you, then that will speak to you as well. They go hand in hand. It's just a set of instructions. And also, if you go to my TikTok, the last few videos that I have also been in relation to this. So you can go and watch those as well. Anyway, know the season that you're in and don't take things and run with them. This should speak to you though, if it is for you, and you should know without a doubt, and take everything back to God and sit with God in your own personal relationship and time with him and allow him to speak to you and confirm to you and all of the things. But with that being said, so the first thing that took place today before I went to the lake, I was on my way somewhere, and in the car, there's a specific car that God will speak to me through about my spouse because his initials are associated with this car. Sometimes he'll use the color, whichever car, whatever the color of the car is. He'll use like the license plate, stickers, like whatever the case, but he'll use this car a lot to speak to me about my spouse. And so this specific car like flies in front of me, gets in front of me, and is just going like full speed ahead. And I'm like, okay, God, I try to catch up to this car because I'm like, I don't know if he's trying to speak to me through like the license plate or like whatever. So I'm like trying to catch up to this car so that I can read the license plate and like look at this car, but I could not catch up to it for nothing. And then there's a red light ahead, and I'm like, okay, we're coming to a red light. Surely now we're all going to be stopped at this red light. I can read, like I can look at this car. Well, no, they decide to go to like stop at the red light and then go straight on through it. And that was before I could get there and like stop. So I never actually got to like see anything with this car. But obviously God wasn't intending me to. This was going a whole nother direction. I hadn't quite figured it out yet though. And then I get to where I'm going, and then I'm back on my way home, and all of a sudden this other car just flies through a red light. I'm like, okay, we see that happen every now and then, but like it's not common to see it happen twice in the matter of like minutes, someone just going straight on, like it's not even red. It was like it was green. So then after that happened, he brought back to memory a video I was watching yesterday of a prophetic voice on YouTube, and I think her ministry is called On Purpose Ministries, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm terrible with names, but I believe that's who it was. And she was speaking about how your spouse has now caught up to you and they are passing you and kind of slowing you down now, where they are passing you and getting ahead of you. And she was saying how, especially in the case of this being a man or a husband, that's a good thing, because the husband is supposed to be in front of you and ahead of you, because they are the head and they are to cover you and provide for you and protect you and lead you and guide you, you know. So it's necessary that they be ahead of you. And that is what he brought to mind with this whole scenario. Like the car with my spouse's initials just flew right in front of me and got in front of me and was psh. And another thing he brought to mind was all gas, no brakes. Not braking at the red light, just going straight on through, full speed ahead. He spoke to me using that a few times in the past with some words that he has given me about how, you know, when it's time for your husband to come back, they are coming back, all gas, no brakes. Like, phew. So with that being said, a few other things I had noticed that I had seen was I saw a fire hydrant that the water was gushing, spewing out of it. It was a broken fire hydrant. And again, the water was just spewing and gushing out of it. I had also seen a broken sprinkler head where the water was gushing and spewing out of it as well. So, and what came to mind after I realized I had seen that multiple times was water breaking, like your water has broken. And you are now in the, once your water breaks in pregnancy, it starts your delivery, when, you know, it starts the delivery where you're about to birth your baby, and in a spiritual aspect, your promise. And not to mention, I also passed a boat place that's in my town that sells boats, and one of the boats stuck out to me, and it had in big letters on the brake. This, I'll come back to this though, because while I'm at the lake, God circles me back around to this again and gives me more. So anyway, so now I end up at the lake and I'm sitting there, and there's two boats that are parked at the shoreline. And first of all, what God started speaking to me about the water breaking, waves break at the shoreline, right? Waves break at the shoreline where this boat was parked. And a wave is created by some sort of disturbance in the water. Okay? Now, just keep that in mind. Just stick with me. Those that have ears will hear. So one of the boats stuck out to me. Not only the color was significant to me, but it said Tahoe on it, and God has been speaking to me about Tahoe, just something also that's significant to me. And the number that was on this boat was 2185. And in the Strong's Concordance, that means to arrive upon and to reach. The boat has reached the shoreline, and the wave. Okay, so let me not even go too far. So also I had seen a few words throughout the day: united, engagement, 344 again, which means to return. Shift happens. Shift, like a shifting has happened. And then 1234 I've been seeing a lot on the clock, which means breakthrough. There's been a breakthrough and a shift that has happened. And again, I saw signs, united, and some other things that were significant to me as well. So also, there was a number on this boat that meant 4818. That was on the boat, and it means chariot. God has been speaking a lot about chariot, Cinderella, and I'll get to that as well. And also on this boat was Key West. And I've been seeing Key West everywhere. Key West, first, though, like what comes to my mind is the beach. It's a paradise. A lot of people love, like, Key West is just, it's a really nice place to go to vacation. It is like paradise. And he's been speaking on paradise, and keys, the 2 keys. And I even posted a video, like maybe a week ago on my TikTok that was of pack your bags, and it was with the song 2 Tickets to Paradise with the 2 keys. And again, God has, if you've watched the other videos, then, and this is for you, then you know God has been speaking about how he has given you both, you and your spouse now, both are holding the key to your marriage, and you are to now run through the door into your marriage season. And so that's really significant. But another way that he gave Key West to me today was key, of course, the keys. And then West stuck out to me. So something I saw when I was leaving, there was a car parked behind mine that said delivery driver. And then it also had compass on it. And when a compass, you know, north, south, east, and west, right? Another number that was on one of these boats was 1720, which means in the Strong's Concordance, to breathe into or upon. And when I saw compass, I thought of the 4 winds. And then he brought me with the boat, with the number on the boat, to that number in the Strong Concordance that means to breathe into or upon. He is, and then delivery driver. So what I gathered from that was that God is the delivery driver. He is the one that is driving this delivery. He is blowing, you know, the 4 winds. He is giving life into, he's giving life to this situation. He is bringing life back to it. What looks dead, he's bringing to life. And he is the driver of this delivery. And also another number that was on the boat was 418. And 418 means impossible. So again, he is taking what looks impossible, which is why this is going to be a miracle. Also, I saw miracle today. There was a big car that drove by me that just literally in large letters said miracle on it. And he is breathing life into, giving life into this situation and bringing it to life. And which is ultimately going to turn this into a miracle. He's taking what looks impossible and he's making it possible by breathing life into it. And then, so with all that being said, he brought back to mind, since he brought the chariot and all of this, Cinderella, a few months back, maybe January, February, I was, in a fasting state, and, I started having visions back to back to back. It was like a little slideshow of visions. And the first vision that I had was a beautiful Cinderella chariot, okay? It was glistening, and I can still remember it. Like, words can't even describe how beautiful this chariot was. But it was just glistening and sparkling. It looked so pretty. And then it switched, and I have another vision. And this vision is of something that's significant to my spouse. Like, I knew he was relating my spouse. And then it switches again. Let me see. To a couple just standing in a kitchen, standing together, right? And they're holding a baby. And then it switches from that to another vision of 2 white doves or birds just ascending into the sky. And then it switches from that to, I started to smell and taste pumpkin, like a pumpkin puree, like pumpkin pie. And then after that, I have another vision of a newlywed couple in a car. And then this couple, like the girl turns like the guy was in like a tuxedo, like you just know they were just married and they were driving away. And in this vision, she turns toward her husband and she leans over and she like hugs and kisses him, and then that was it. And I'm going to actually like a week ago, I came across a song that popped up on my YouTube, and in the song, the cover photo of the song, or I don't know if it's like in the music video or whatever, but whatever the case, that is exactly what I saw when I saw in this vision. Like that's a perfect way of like illustration to show you of what I was actually seeing. But with all that being said, the way, I know that's a lot and it's all over the place, but stay with me because this is going to make a lot of sense. The 2 tickets to Paradise, right? Paradise, Key West, the 2 tickets, the 2 keys, 2 tickets to Paradise. The 2 keys to this marriage door have been given to both of you. The Tahoe boat, the chariot, has arrived and parked at the shore where the water breaks, labor and delivery, where you are now, your water has broken. I want to make note too that the way that a wave is created is through a disturbance. This disturbance referencing what you and your spouse have been through, all of the things has now brought you into shore, brought you into this place where your water has now broken. You've been given the keys and now you can walk into this marriage. That's how God gave that to me. The marriage door is open. It is time to run. I've been seeing the word run a lot too lately. Full force through this door, birthing this marriage, this miracle. He said, Cinderella, your chariot has been parked and you have arrived. It is time for you to be united with your prince. So the rundown of that, the way that God gave this to me, this is what I wrote in my notes. The chariot takes Cinderella to the ball, right? And in the vision, remember the first vision I had in this set of visions was the chariot glistening pretty. And that's at that point in the movie, that is where it doesn't take her to the ball when it's a pumpkin. It takes her when everything, the fairy godmother had made everything pretty, her dress beautiful, everything had looked beautiful. The chariot has take Cinderella to the ball where she meets her prince. He recognizes her as the one. And this is the way that I see this was in the beginning of y'all's relationship where, everything was great one day. It felt like a fairy tale because, again, this connection is different. When it's God ordained, it's a whole different connection. And before everything started, the separation started, everything was so good, right? And then things start to get rocky, right? This is where you start going through your process and the separation and the fire, just the process, right? Things start to get rocky, creating waves, a disturbance that creates waves, right? And also when Cinderella leaves the ball and she's on her way back home, she's trying to rush home before the carriage turns back into a pumpkin. Things are rocky. It's a really rocky ride. If you go watch the movie, you'll know what I mean. Like the wheels start turning back into, she barely makes it home by the time this thing turns back into a pumpkin. And it's just a rocky ride. Which brings her chariot, the boat, back home, back to shore, where it turns back into a pumpkin. And when I was having those visions, after the glistening, after that part, the couple, I have the vision of the couple standing in the kitchen holding the baby. And that is so when it gets back home, when the chariot gets back to her home, it turns back into the pumpkin, which is where I tasted and smelled the pumpkin. At that point, when the boat reaches the shore, at this time, the prince is searching for her, and as she runs and hides, because she's running and hiding from him because she doesn't want him to see, the story. So he's searching for her, and once she comes out of hiding, he is able to find her. Her foot, walk, fits the shoe representing God's will, God's purpose, and that is how he finds her and knows that she is the one. And that is when the baby, they're holding the baby, the promise, and they are that's when I had the vision of the newlywed couple in the car. The marriage comes, because at that point, that is when the prince finds her and he marries her, and he brings her into his home where he is, has married her and is taking care of her and all of the things, which is why also, like in the video I posted yesterday and the instructions, God was saying, get back into alignment and position. And he was saying, you can't obtain this blessing and this promise unless you're in position. Just like with Cinderella, if you look at this from a spiritual aspect, her shoe is on her foot and your feet represent your walk, right? He can't find her. He wouldn't be able to find her if the shoe didn't fit. If her walk wasn't aligned in the promise and in God's will, he would not be able to find her. So it's very important for you to stay in alignment, especially right now in this time. Stay in position, because you have now walked into your marriage season and it is time. And they are coming back full force, all gas, no brakes. And right now, it is not time to be out of position and out of alignment. Because you are now, your water has broken and you are now birthing this promise out. Okay. That's a lot, but I hope this makes sense. I am trying my best to get this out in the way that it makes sense and the way that God intended for me to get this out. Again, God is driving this delivery. He is breathing life into this situation, and this situation that looks impossible, that looks dead, he is breathing life into it and driving this delivery. And your husband has now moved full speed ahead. He said they were coming quick like lightning, and all gas and no brakes. They have now passed you. They are now being elevated. They are elevating as well as you are elevating, and now they have moved ahead of you, and now they are in a position to be able to care for you, provide for you, protect you, just be your covering. And in the video I posted yesterday on my YouTube, that was something else that I mentioned. God had brought me to, let's see, the number 167, which means to move a tent from place to place. A tent is a dwelling or habitation, a shelter, a covering. And what he gave me from that was that, and he also brought me to Ruth. Boaz takes Ruth and marries her and provides for her and everything. And it essentially brought to my attention with that, covering. Your covering is now, like, now that your husband has moved ahead of you, and he's now in a position to be able to care for you and all of the things. That covering is now being switched to him. So now you're going to be submitted to him, and trusting that he's going to lead you and guide you. Of course, God is the covering overall, because God is covering him, which is in turn covering you. But instead of it just being you strictly submitted to God, you are now going to be submitted to your husband, because that covering is changing. Again, to move a covering from place to place, he's moving that covering to your husband now, because now he's in a position to be able to cover you. I hope this all makes sense. If it's for you, you'll have ears to hear. This will make sense to you. And I pray that it gets to the people that it needs to get to. And I pray that it makes sense to who it needs to make sense for. If this word is for you, I really encourage you to go and watch the video that I posted yesterday, because there's a lot of things in that you need to know, as far as like being in position and getting back in alignment. So anyhow, I pray that this gets to the people that it needs to get to at the right time. And if y'all feel led to sow, I have my information in the description underneath the video. All seeds are appreciated, and I pray over each and every one of them. And I just thank y'all for whatever seeds you do sow, whether that is financial or just, in the comments, the encouragement, the support, and the kind, sweet words that y'all say. I appreciate all of it. And I thank you for all of that. And yeah, that's it. That is the word. And I will see y'all in my next video, whenever that may be. Okay, bye.